Hi, it's Kit Kat, and my um, YouTube channel is called Our Constitution. I've always loved George Washington, and my birthday is the 21st of February. His is the 22nd, and he's older than me, thank God. But I've always celebrated him because that man, when at 15 went out to Winchester, Virginia to work under Lord Fairfax to survey properties and to deal with the native Indians and the colonists coming in and moving into those areas. Eventually, and this was interesting, I didn't know this. I was driving to Gettysburg one day from Maryland to PA, and I saw a sign on the side of the road. I pulled over, and it was a judge's, I believe it was a judge's house. And there in that mansion, George Washington was sworn in as the commander of the Potomac Army. He was such a young man. It was just beautiful. I mean, I'm just proud of him because of his integrity, morals, and values. And of course, a lot of people will say, look, everybody had slaves back then. He had slaves. So if he was moral and had integrity and stuff like that, he would not have slaves. And, they would all be free. That's a totally other story. Eventually, I mean, he fought a king. He fought the British king uh, to make America. And um, that was something that was so important to those people that came over from foreign countries to settle on lands. They were fighting the Indians, the French were here, the British are here, and all this is going on. And here's this one man that comes through and saves America. So when we have July 4th, we should celebrate the freedom of being ruled by a British king. Well, I believe George Washington had two terms as president, and everybody liked him so much they wanted him to continue to be a president. And he said, no, I believe it should stop at two terms. That's it. And we're looking at President 47, who in the last year had rallies that he was very bored because he already had it in his mind what he was going to do. Since he humiliated himself by being kicked out of the White House because he lost to Biden, this man became revengeful, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say the Indians getting back at other Indians on the plains back then, but he was seeking revenge against everyone who went against him, even against the MAGA people. Can you imagine that? He went against everybody. His revenge was like on a talk show one time, I guess it was back in the 90s. He told the hostess that his favorite thing at that time was, yeah, I like revenge. I like doing that. Now, isn't that a sick thing? A Christian, could you see Jesus Christ talking to his apostles or training his students become before they became apostles and saying, you know what, if you don't like the Romans or if you don't like this and that or anything or the leaders of these countries and how suppressed you are, revenge is the way to go. No, No, it was love, compassion, forgiveness, and repentance. Jesus taught a very different way of surviving in life, but not Trump. Trump is like, oh no, um, he couldn't wait when he had his hand up and the other hand was supposed to be in the Bible that his foreign wife was holding on to. He never put that left hand on that Bible. Because if the devil puts his hand on the Bible, it would singe it. The devil is afraid of the Bible. I think we should all start wearing crosses and having little bottles of holy water anytime you run into him. Like this, cast you out, demon. I cast you out. In the name of Jesus Christ's blood, I cast you out. So his group of people, well, okay. He said, I don't need your votes anymore. There'll be no more voting. I'll be a dictator in one day. And I love Putin. I'm on my knees for Putin. And Putin knows it. Trump's had this relationship with Putin since he married his first wife, Ivanka, what, back in 1987, 1988. The KGB were very interested in Donald Trump. And when Donald Trump designed and made the Trump Towers, there were a lot of Russians that lived in there doing illegal money laundering and stuff like that. And also, I want to say something about Epstein. Epstein, when he was thinking about what kind of work he wanted to do, way, way back when he was younger, he studied to be an accountant and he worked on Trump's taxes. This, the news doesn't tell you, but how I found out was reading something that Epstein wrote like a long time ago. It's just reading stuff about how Epstein got started. So there, besides him working on Trump's taxes, he probably did illegal taxes for other famous people. That's how he got ahead in the society of the rich people in New York. You do a favor to one person, they do a favor to another. The other thing also that I read and that I still read is that um, the Kennedy assassination information came out. The bottom line is the mafia killed Kennedy, and the mafia killed Marilyn Monroe. Trump has, I don't like Russian mafia and other Russian people that guide him and work with him, and probably Putin to keep him in a position that he can flip America over to a dictatorship, a fascist government. And they would love that because George Washington worked for, I mean, our Constitution has been here for over 200 years. And that would just tickle Putin. They're like, oh, America's come over. Jeez, I think I'm going to cross that little bit of land that goes into British Columbia and Alaska and come down and take over America. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, wouldn't it be really nice? Also, back in 83, when America situated nuclear weapons into Britain, Britain was at a point of, we don't want this in our country. And my mother's British. So when I traveled over there, I got, oh, when they heard my voice, my American voice, said, oh, look at her. She's the one that brought the bombs over. And the next thing I knew, I had 20, 30 people all around me. In customs, when I arrived, I was treated like crap. I was treated like crap in my mother's own country by a lot of people. Even an aunt of mine and my cousin treated me like crap. I remember sitting on the sofa back then in 83 and my cousin's mother-in-law and them. Here I am, they're American cousin. Like, what the hell did I do? Um, and they said we weren't allies with Russia yet, and they were saying we trust and we like Russia over America, and like I got really tired of this crap. So anyway, I stayed with my cousin for months over in Wales and um, England and traveled around and stuff. And one day, I forget if it was Liverpool or some place where a Russian ship was docked in, and my cousin was so excited because over here, when Russian ships came into the inner harbor in Baltimore, no Americans, nobody could go on those ships. They were closed off. So here I had a chance to go on a Russian ship. And those Russians had those short machine guns. And I'm sitting in my cousin's car, and I said, "Will you go ahead and talk to them?" And so he's a twit. He's a veterinarian, but he's a twit. So he goes running off. He goes up on the Russian ship. There's a Russian soldier there with a machine gun right at the ladder, like this. And then he says, "Come on." The guy we were seeing, his name was Boris. And Boris had two silver capped front teeth. Now, there's status and wealth according to your teeth. So he wasn't a high status. So we were led into Boris's room. We never saw the rest of the ship at all. He invited us to lunch. Um, it was the first time I had Russian vodka, and it was like my cousin and Boris were going like this, and I was like, no, thank you. And Boris knew some English, and he said, "Oh, an American, she don't like Russian vodka too much," and they were laughing. And so he told me, "I've never met an American before. I was the first American he ever met in 1983, the first American." And I said to him, "Why is it that we had to be at war with your country and our country?" And this was interesting. And I always remember this because we became best friends. Boris said, "It's not the people. People are farmers. People are regular people." That was back then. Now there's different things going on. But back then he said the majority of people are farmers. They're just trying to get by. They're just trying to have a living. And it's not them. It's our governments that want war. And I thought that was very interesting. So I don't blame the Russian people right now. And with what Putin's doing right now, I know I can't help the hate the Russian people because it's not their fault. It's Putin's problem. It's Putin's fault. It's his ego and controlling and power and his wants. Just like Trump. I had nothing to do with Trump. I never voted for him. Fools voted for him and everything. But getting back to my trip over there in England, it was nice that I didn't have America say you can't go on that Russian ship. I went on the Russian ship, and then the next day I was invited back on the Russian ship. And so I went back on the Russian ship with my cousin, and another Russian ship came in. Now, this is the winter time. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there next to Boris and my cousin, and I look up, and there's this Russian with the big black hat and all in black, and he has gold teeth. That means he's superior to Boris, and he knows no English. Boris probably said she's an American. That guy was all business. That guy, I just like looking at him, and I kept get my mouth shut. And anyway, I couldn't wait for him to get off that ship. That was 5 minutes of being nervous. But so anyway, um, coming back through customs, eventually I had to come back to America, and Boris gave me Russian magazines, Stalin pins, Marxist pins. I had all kinds of things from Russia. And I thought, oh my God, if customs asked me to open up my luggage, they're going to ask me why I have all this Russian stuff. And to this day, I still have it. I appreciate it. And I did get a postcard um, from Boris from his province in Russia. Um, and he said, your name in Russia, I like it. Your name in Russia is called Katrina. So they're like average day people. They're they're not the ones wanting to start this war. I mean, the bottom line is, look, over 30 years ago, Russia attacked Estonia. And a girlfriend of mine, I met her after she moved to America with her family to get America took them in to protect them from Russia. And some of her family died in that. Russia has attacked countries along their border over the years. People are afraid of that happening again with the Ukraine Russian war. If Zelensky collapses and gives Russia his country, that puts all the other countries that border Ukraine in a red flag zone with Russia. Putin's not going to stop at anything. That's probably why Putin and Trump get along so well, is because they're both stubborn, they both have an ego, they both want control, and they both want to outdo each other. I mean, the funny thing is when, you know, I had never had believed anything coming out of Donald Trump's mouth since the 70s. He's just been a liar, except for one thing. When he had that show on TV, he said the only way you're going to get your money's worth with selling a car of yours is to completely clean it out like it was brand new, and you'll get a price for it. That's the only good thing that came out of it for me. But other than that, he should have just stayed in his lane with real estate, even though he went bankrupt, didn't pay people who worked for him, and he knows he's a loser. He I don't know how he sleeps at night, or he just doesn't sleep at night. He tweets all night. His brain is like that. And, you know, so these are men who, somewhere when they were 2 or 3, I know um, through the years what people have said about Trump, and Trump said this about himself. I don't like people telling me what to say. So he could be sitting at a conference or a work conference, and all these generals or whoever they are, even lawyers, anybody telling him what he should do, but he doesn't do it. He does it his way. So guess what? He says America is at its golden age. Go sit on your golden toilet, Trump. You just flushed America down a toilet with your abuse of Zelensky last night. You ruined all America's connections for the last 80 years or so since World War II with our allies. Are you happy that you only like certain idiots like Putin, Mr. Kim, the CCP, and terrorists? You happy with that? So now, Zelensky. Oh, and thanks for making fun of Zelensky, saying he was a comedian and all that. Because Ronald Reagan was an actor. And you, besides being a realtor and pushed into it by your dad, was a talk show host. So who the hell are you to say anything about Zelensky? I see how proud Zelensky is, and he's thinking about his country. His country right now, Vance is. He invited Vance, come over and see what's really going on, and all Vance could say is, "I, I read the stories." No, go over there. It's like a fucking nuclear wasteland. Everything's destroyed. P word for him. So he ruined it. There's no golden age. You can't take away woke. You can't take away rainbows. You can't. And the funny thing about the rainbow is, did you see Daytona Beach when he was standing in the center with his little niece or granddaughter or whatever in her dress? She was wearing a rainbow. Did he should have ripped that off? Said that's too gay or lesbian or whatever. I thought that was cute though. I liked her rainbow dress. He's a freaking idiot. He's just, he look. It doesn't take his niece who went to school to say what her uncle is, because he did read Mein Kampf. He worshipped Hitler. Hitler genocide all these Jewish and Polish peoples in concentration camps. At the end of the war, when the regular German people said we didn't know that this was going to happen, most of these people were way out in country parts of Germany that were not aware of the concentration camps. What do they have? Cell phones back then? Say, hey, you see what happened? Or computers? No. They didn't know about this. You can't blame it all on Germany. This is Hitler. The same thing with Trump. Now all of Europe, all our allies hate us. Do you think I want to travel? I was always treated like shit back in 1983 by my mother's family and my relatives and people, um, you know, in England. Why would I want to travel abroad now? I did my DNA, and I'm like part Norse Viking, German, and Scottish, and Irish, and this and that, like 7 different cultures. But when people look at you and this is what they see, and then they see or they hear your voice, you're just American. That's it. I'm not a female. I'm not an individual. I'm really should say Donald Trump on here and have caused the problems. That's the way it is. I had a friend. I don't know why in the hell he went to Panama right now. You had a good time, but like, why travel abroad right now? But people say don't use fear. And I know Donald Trump's people say things, they flip flop. They say things and flip flop. So you have to go with your gut intuitions. You have to pray to the universe, pray to God, pray that we come through this darkness because it's going to get worse. Um, a lot of countries have backed up out of selling products to us now. So we, the people, are going to suffer a lot. Donald Trump thought that being a bully, to Mexico, Canada, Panama, um, to Zelensky and everybody. Zelensky's got it good now in a way. So Zelensky proved in that interview that he was a very respectful man. Not Trump and Vance, two people in one, being a bully. And the thing with these white American men standing behind Trump saying to Zelensky, "Why aren't you wearing a suit?" He's in a fucking war. Do you wear a suit during a war, you idiots? Oh my God, I could just take each one and just choke them and throw them over there in some foreign country where they're fighting. Nobody dresses like that during a war. Jesus, maybe Putin does because he's in his mansion or underground bunker dressed like that with all his money and glory. I mean, come on, people. That's not reality. And, I I talked to a person the other day walking the dog. Well, I like Putin on that. What do you like, a KGB guy who poisons people, puts them in prisons, and kills you? I mean, get real and learn history. Seriously. My family fought in World War II. We got rid of Hitler. Even Russia came in before America, and and Hitler was brave enough to just blow out his brains. We thought the Nazis were done. But then we had other issues in our country, like the white supremacists and the KKK and all that crap. But back to the war, we thought we were done. God, we even bombed Japan. And then we thought nuclear weapons, that was done. We're moving on. And now we have to go through Donald Trump and his little clown show. His mansion down in Florida is like White House too. And for one who doesn't like foreigners, half his oh no, all his wives have been foreigners. So and he's German. I have nothing. My mother's best friends were German after the war, and so were mine. And I know how to speak German. And I enjoyed being in Germany, but it it's between these two men, and it's about control and money. And all Donald wants to do is throw Zelensky under the rug, steal his minerals, and make money. He's already spent $10 million of taxpayers' money in over the last 30 days, and he's laughing all the way to the bank. If you still believe him and that he's helping us, no, you can watch on the news where there's shows like Midas Touch showing mega people crying and saying, "I voted for Trump, but I went to work and I don't have a job anymore." It affects all of us. He said he doesn't care about you. He had Musk help him out with money. He had other people help him out. And Musk was able to rig the computers so Harris would look like she lost and Trump would be in office. Trump moved all his little pawn pieces into places to have a coup now. Do you get it? Do you understand it? Or are you that stupid? I wrote a letter to a friend of mine. He's a veteran. I I did say, "You don't have an education, do you? You never went to college." I mean, most intellectual people, I mean, some follow Trump because it's the money they're making. Oh, he's helping us so much. Why? Because he's cutting taxpayers' money and taking it and giving it to the billionaires, and he's wiping out the middle class. You know, unemployment's going up. Farmers are going to hurt. Food is going down, especially um, because they don't have anybody in the fields to help with the food. So we're going to have a food shortage and an oil shortage because Canada's sending their oil to someplace else in Europe. So thank you, Trump, for the downfall. Make America great, and it's the golden age, and you don't like woke and rainbows and everything. Have you grown up past the age of 2? You still having your tantrums? Big old baby in a diaper. And that's our president, a 34 count felon rapist that just when he was in with Epstein, and even Epstein said in his tapes, and people that knew Trump back then, all he talked about was women. Womanizers. They're all womanizers. What a life. So all I can think of, Miss Sadie, you a good girl, Sadie girl? Sadie? She's waving her tail. She doesn't like it when I'm on the cell phone or when I'm on the computer. She goes, I want to go for a walk. So, Trump, you blew it with a golden age because there's no golden age. That was with baby boomers. So, pray for peace. Pray that Zelensky has all this help from our allies that are no longer our allies because Trump destroyed all that. And if Trump honestly thinks Putin is going to honestly help him, Putin had his own agenda. I mean, for Putin to put naked photographs of Melania all over the Russian news when Trump became president, that that's just really disrespectful. Putin was showing his strength over Donald. Donald is a weak, insecure, low self esteem man. And that's what I have to say. And this is where we are. I'm going to check the temperature, see what it's like, and take this girl out for a walk, right? You want to come up here? Come here. Come up here and say hi. Come on. Come on. Say something about. Come here. See. Come. There she is. There she is. There she is. Uh, come with me. I know a little bit of German. She's kissed me. So anyway, if you enjoyed staying with me for a half an hour listening to my rant, like and subscribe and tell others. I am a senior. I just had a birthday. And today, finally, instead of wearing a knit hat and looking like I'm going to die with one foot in a hole, I decided to make myself look a little bit good. I gotta laugh. Oh my. Everyone stay well. Write to your representatives. If you're in Maryland, write to Governor Moore. We know exactly what he's doing. And he's horrible. There's a lot of bad people out there, but there are a lot of good people out there. And the protests are really good. And yesterday was a day of no buying anything. I didn't buy anything. I didn't even get gas. I didn't do anything. I didn't leave the house. So, and I didn't buy anything on the internet. So, um, on the internet, there's a thing to follow of when not to buy and do certain things to show your strength that you disagree with what Trump and his people are doing. And Putin, at dust to dust, we all die and go. And Iran might lie now and tell Trump they don't want to kill him, but Iran wants him real bad. That's the way life is. When you're in the public spot, I mean, think about it. Pelosi's husband was attacked in her house, and Mega was laughing and making fun of that. That's not Christian. This is a spiritual war right now. When we have 3 days of darkness, those who believe in Jesus Christ and God just pray and keep your faith, because when there's a storm, after the storm, just temporary, then there's the light. Just remember that. Keep the light within your heart. All right? I see her looking outside. She's looking at me. I better take her out. All right, folks. Stay well. I'll talk to you all again. Bye bye.